So let's do the basics of Wikis, in this case pbworks.com. We've gotten started and now we're ready to get going. Alright, first thing before I go and show you some of the basics here is I do want to let you know that one thing that's a really cool feature about this space is that this is your URL. So once you create it, teachertechvids.pbworks.com or whatever yours is, anyone that goes to that URL will be brought to your wiki space. That's how you can share it with kids, with parents, people in the community. Just point them to that link. Alright, I'm going to start off here and I'm going to click over to settings and then I'll kind of work my way over. If you click on settings, it gives you the basics of your site, the description, the title. You can definitely change that title to make it a little bit more appropriate, capital letters, etc., etc. Make sure the time is correct because that'll kind of make sure that whenever students are posting, you have an accurate idea of when they're posting. If you click over here, you can customize some of the colors. You can't make your own custom set, but you can change it to red, blue, green, plum, any of those, and it should save it automatically. The logo we're going to talk about and beyond the basics, and also the export. But for now, I'm just going to kind of show you these things, and I think from here I'm going to go to the next tab, which is users. A wiki's no good if you're the only one that's editing it. It's really a collaborative space, so you need to invite some people to collaborate with you. And hopefully that will be your students. Now here's how you add some students. You can do it by, again, clicking on this users tab and then click on add more users. You can do it if they have email addresses by just copying and pasting their email addresses into this box. Or if you work with students that don't all have email addresses, you can click on this link, create accounts for your students. It takes you to this page. Now here's where you have a decision to make. It's asking you how many students do you need to have accounts. It will give you up to 100, and now that includes yours. So like if I were to try to type in 100, it won't let me go anywhere past 100. And so the 100 that includes you would be 99 students plus your own account. So the maximum number you can put in here is 99. And then you want to think about this. This is the permission levels that you will automatically assign to those accounts. I'll just give you a quick rundown of what the difference is. They go up in privileges, so if you have a student as a reader account, then they can only read the wiki. They can get to it, they can read it, they cannot post to it. If you make them a writer, they can edit pages, they can add pages, they can add files, they can add to the wiki if they're a writer. And the difference between a writer and editor is not only can they add to the wiki, but they can also delete from the wiki. So they can delete pages, they can delete accounts, they can delete files, and they can delete revisions and things like that. So I would really be most likely what you're going to have your students be are writers. You want them to be able to write to the wiki, but you don't want them to be able to delete the stuff that other kids have posted. Once you've got that figured out, click on continue. It's going to give you a long list of all these accounts that are created. Now here's where it gets a little bit trickier depending on how much you want to customize it. You can put all the students' names in here and associate their accounts. If you have a listing of their usernames they log into at school, you can copy and paste them in as their usernames. You can do the same thing with the passwords. If you want them all to have the same password, let's say you're in an elementary setting, you can put in a password, you can copy it, and then go down and paste. That way all the kids could have the same password. If you wanted to do it as a group, you could have, instead of doing just individual students, you could do a group username. So group A with a password of grapes, and then you could have all of this be, all of group A would log in with that same account. So there is some flexibility here. It's kind of a pain to set up initially. They don't have an easy import feature here, which is definitely a negative, but you can get all your student accounts set up. Depending on how many you have, if you manage the copy and pasting, it's not too bad. I'm just not going to mess around with it anymore. I'm just going to go ahead down to the bottom, hit click continue. We'll automatically set them up, make them all writers, give them the same username and password, and create accounts. Now once you have them created, you can go back and you can delete You can reorder, you can change them to writers, to readers, to editors. So if you want to give one student more rights or less rights, you can certainly do that after the accounts have been created. Alright, once they are created, there's a good little feature here, print the account list. If you got a printer hooked up, it'll pop up and it'll allow you to print all these out. I definitely encourage you to do that if you're going to hand them out to students. You can print it out, cut these slips of paper apart, and they'll be ready to go. They can log in and edit the wiki. And here is now the new user page. So if I want to delete a user or change their rights, I can do that in here under the user tab. Alright, so we've got some users in here. We've got some people that can edit our wiki. The next thing I want to show you is how to edit the wiki. When students come to the page, it's very, very simple. Once they're logged in, they would just log in just like anyone else would log in to pbworks.com, and they can get right to this space. And what happens is, all you do is click on this edit button, and it comes up very similar to Microsoft Word or other programs they've been comfortable using. It's just select and change. So I can select, I can edit, I can delete. If I want to select and change a font, we can certainly do that as well. Here, if I want to change the size, if I want to change the type of font, change, again, these are heading sizes, colors, background colors, you can do all these things. And some of these more advanced things, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in Beyond the Basics, inserting videos and inserting some HTML. So that'll be in Beyond the Basics. But this is the basics of how to edit the page. When they're done, you just click on Save. If you're going to continue editing, you want to click Save and Continue. There's also a box here to describe the changes. I haven't used that often, but it can help for kids that want to reflect on the changes they've made. Anyway, click Save, and there it is. It saves the page. And that is how the pages are edited. Very simple, straightforward. Click on Edit, and make sure they click on Save when they're done. Next thing is, the last thing in this video, I want to show you how to create more pages and kind of manage the pages. You can do it one of two ways. You can click over here on Create a Page, or you can click on Pages and Files. Either way is the same thing. It'll take you to a spot. If you're in Pages and Files, you click on New, Create a Page, ask you to name the page, and you can do a blank page, or if you have an idea of what you want it to look like, you can use one of these templates that they have. I usually only put a blank page in. And then it also gives you an option to put it in a folder automatically, and I'll show you that in just a minute. So I create the page. It's now here, testing. If I click on the page, I've got a blank page ready to edit and ready to save. Alright, so that is the basics of getting your wiki set up under pbworks.com. Getting those settings, getting the users imported, and getting to your wiki and actually editing it and saving it. In the next video, Beyond the Basics, I'm going to talk about, there's a lot of little tricks that you can do here in pbworks. We'll talk about uploading some files, how to access those files, how to delete pages, how to put pages into folders. We'll talk about how to change the sidebar and then change the navigation over here, and a couple other things about adding HTML. So that's it for the basics, and I'll see you in the next one.